For centuries, the name Nostradamus has been whispered with awe, curiosity, and a touch of fear. A 16th-century series of quatrains have inspired scholars, skeptics, and believers alike. Nostradamus has long been regarded as both prophet and mystery. Across time, his verses have been linked to events of astonishing consequence: wars, natural disasters, political upheaval, often interpreted after the fact, as if the future itself was speaking through his words. But now, in 2026, what many thought would remain cryptic and theoretical has taken a startling form. One of his final warnings has come uncomfortably close to reality, shaking not only experts in prophecy but ordinary people who never gave thought to visions of the future. The warning itself, hidden in metaphor and veiled language, has been dissected and debated for centuries. Scholars have pored over his writings, attempting to decode phrases that span centuries. When the world turns on its own shadow, the sky will weep, and the waters rise higher than the kings of old. One such quatrain reads, a passage that for decades was interpreted as symbolic, enigmatic, or even poetic exaggeration. But the events unfolding in 2026 suggest that these words were not merely allegory. Record-breaking storms, unusual seismic activity, and unprecedented political unrest have coincided with the timing of his prediction, prompting a wave of global reflection. Suddenly, the line between legend and reality feels unnervingly thin. Across the world, people are reacting to what some call the fulfillment. In cities once thought immune to natural disaster, unexpected flooding and weather anomalies have struck with devastating speed. Economists, scientists, and historians alike are analyzing patterns, drawing uncomfortable parallels to Nostradamus' writings. Social media is awash with speculation, as both experts and amateurs debate whether the events unfolding are coincidental or the literal realization of centuries-old prophecy. Entire communities are re-evaluating priorities, governments are issuing urgent statements, and individuals find themselves grappled with a sense of vulnerability that transcends borders. Historians of prophecy point out that Nostradamus' warnings were never meant to frighten, but to awaken awareness, to encourage preparation and reflection. The modern interpretation of his quatrains has often leaned towards sensationalism, but the events of 2026 have forced a reconsideration. In classrooms, newsrooms, and online forums, experts dissect not only the literal words but also the spirit behind them, the inevitability of change, the consequences of human actions, and the delicate balance between hubris and humility. For many, the fulfillment of these predictions feels less like magic and more like a mirror held up to humanity, showing what happens when warnings go unheeded. Religious leaders, scientists, and political analysts are finding themselves converging on a single, uncomfortable truth. Nostradamus prophesies, once dismissed as cryptic curiosities, may carry practical lessons for the present day. Climate anomalies, global tensions, and rapid technological change are intersecting in ways that feel eerily prescient. From the streets of megacities to remote villages, ordinary citizens are witnessing events that mirror the poetic yet ominous imagery of centuries-old texts. Each storm, each tremor, each societal disruption is being interpreted as part of a grand narrative that was written long before anyone alive today could have imagined it. The human response has been as varied as the phenomena themselves. Some see the fulfillment as a call to action, a reminder to address environmental neglect, political instability, and social inequalities. Others view it through a lens of fear, anxiety, or spiritual awakening. The media has amplified both extremes, while scholars continue the painstaking task of correlating specific quatrains with unfolding events. The result is a heightened sense of urgency, not only to survive the present moment but to learn from the past, guided by the foresight of a man who lived nearly 500 years ago. As 2026 progresses, the alignment between Nostradamus' words and contemporary events has captivated the world. Researchers are racing to contextualize the warnings, theologians are reflecting on morality and human choices, and ordinary citizens are paying attention in ways they never have before. The quatrains that once seemed distant now feel immediate, pressing, and uncomfortably real. Each unfolding event is a reminder that prophecy is not just prediction, it is interpretation, vigilance, and sometimes a warning that cannot be ignored. In conclusion, Nostradamus' final warning for 2026 is not simply a story of mysticism or legend. It is a lens through which humanity is forced to examine itself, our preparedness, our priorities, and our ability to respond to forces beyond our control. The alignment of ancient prophecy with modern reality is more than coincidence. It is a reflection of the enduring human fascination with the future and the enduring consequences of choice. As the year unfolds, the world watches, learns, and wonders, questioning whether history is merely repeating itself or whether a voice in the past has finally spoken with clarity, demanding attention, respect, and action. For centuries, Nostradamus has been a figure shrouded in mystery, revered as a prophet and dismissed by skeptics as a master of ambiguity. Born Michel de Nostradamus in 1503, his life was marked by curiosity, intellect, and a relentless pursuit of understanding the world around him. A physician, astrologer, and scholar, he lived in an age of political unrest, religious upheaval, and plagues, a world that demanded foresight, adaptability, and resilience. From this turbulent backdrop emerged a series of writings known as les prophecies, collections of quatrains that would echo through the centuries. These verses, cryptic and poetic, spoke of wars, disasters, and the ebb and flow of human fortune, and it became the foundation of a legend that would endure long after his death in 1566. Among the thousands of quatrains, a particular set has long been regarded as Nostradamus' final warning, a prophecy not yet fulfilled, one that speaks of the challenges humanity will face in the 21st century. For decades, scholars debated its meaning. Was it metaphor, coincidence, or an eerie glimpse into the future? Some argued that Nostradamus' predictions were intentionally vague, designed to inspire reflection rather than fear. Others believed that his word contained precise markers, patterns that, when studied carefully, reveal the trajectory of global events. And now, in 2026, that prophecy seems to have crossed the boundary between legend and reality, manifesting in ways that few could have imagined. The quatrain in question reads, "When the skies will burn and the waters rage beyond the kings of old, the world shall tremble, and man shall face the consequences of his hubris." For centuries, the imagery was interpreted as symbolic, poetic, perhaps even hyperbolic. Yet in early 2026, the alignment of extreme climate events, political unrest, and technological upheavals has caused many to rethink these interpretations. Record-breaking temperatures have scorched continents, catastrophic floods have swallowed cities once considered safe, and tectonic shifts have created tremors across regions previously untouched by natural disaster. Scientists and climatologists have documented unprecedented patterns, while policymakers scramble to respond. In the midst of it all, a growing number of voices are pointing to Nostradamus' centuries-old warning, suggesting that the quatrain was more than poetry, it was prescience. Around the globe, the reaction has been electric. Communities are experiencing a collective reckoning with nature, technology, and geopolitics. Social media platforms are flooded with debates and videos highlighting parallels between Nostradamus' predictions and current events. Mainstream news outlets have devoted segments to comparing quatrains with modern occurrences, analyzing the eerie synchronicity between prophecy and reality. Experts in history, theology, and astrology weigh in, some dismissing connections as coincidence, while others warn of the unignorable alignment of ancient warnings and contemporary crises. The atmosphere is one of awe, fear, and reflection, a reminder of the delicate balance between human ambition and the forces that shape the world of in households across continents. The effect is deeply personal. Parents explain to children the magnitude of the events unfolding. Teachers incorporate discussions of prophecy, history, and science into lessons about the real world. Communities once divided by disbelief now find themselves united by uncertainty. Individuals are asking difficult questions. Are these disasters a result of human negligence? Is this truly a manifestation of an ancient warning? Or is humanity simply witnessing the natural consequences of centuries of choices? For many, Nostradamus' words are no longer a distant curiosity. They are an urgent reminder that time, history, and nature move forward regardless of preparation or denial. Behind the scenes, experts are struggling to contextualize the warning. Climate scientists examine anomalies that would have been impossible to predict decades ago, correlating rising sea levels, violent storms, and shifting weather patterns with historical records. Political analysts study global unrest, trade disputes, and resource scarcity, searching for echoes of the chaos described in the centuries-old quatrains. Religious leaders interpret the warning as both spiritual and moral, emphasizing humanity's responsibility to act wisely in the face of uncertainty. Sociologists explore the psychological impact of prophecy on a modern audience, observing how belief, fear, and hope converge in ways that influence behavior, decision-making, and collective consciousness. The alignment of Nostradamus' final warning with current events is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Across continents, unusual natural events continue to unfold. Record floods in regions that had never seen water rise to such heights, wildfires that consumed forests once thought resilient, earthquakes in historically stable zones. Each event seems to echo the imagery described centuries ago. Political and social systems are similarly stressed. Supply chains are disrupted, populations displaced, and governments scrambling to maintain order in the face of growing uncertainty. The more this alignment becomes apparent, the more urgent the global conversation grows, demanding reflection, preparedness, and a re-evaluation of priorities for believers, skeptics, and the undecided. The reality of 2026 offers lessons that transcend prophecy. Nostradamus' warning is not merely about fear, it is about foresight. It challenges humanity to confront the consequences of its choices, from environmental stewardship to technological advancement, from societal cohesion to moral responsibility. It asks whether we are listening, whether we are learning, and whether we are capable of responding before the consequences become irreversible. In many ways, this modern manifestation of prophecy is as much a moral lesson as it is a historical curiosity that as 2026 progresses, the implications of Nostradamus' warning are becoming increasingly clear. Governments, scientists, and communities worldwide are forced to take immediate action. Emergency response teams are mobilized, global summits convened, and policy decisions accelerated. Yet even as the world adapts, the ancient quatrains continue to resonate, reminding humanity that foresight is meaningless without action. Every disaster mitigated, every community protected, and every life saved becomes a testament not only to human ingenuity but to the enduring relevance of prophecy in guiding reflection and preparation. Ultimately, Nostradamus' final warning for 2026 is more than a story of foreboding. It is a mirror held up to humanity. It challenges us to examine our decisions, our priorities, and the delicate balance between ambition and caution. It reminds us that the forces of nature, society, and history are intertwined, and that ignoring the lessons of the past may carry consequences that cannot be undone. And as the events of 2026 continue to unfold, one question remains at the forefront of collective consciousness. Will humanity heed this warning in time, or will history repeat itself, fulfilling a prophecy centuries in the making? This is a moment where legend meets reality, where the words of a 16th century say echo in the streets, classrooms, and halls of power around the globe. It is a moment of reflection, urgency, and awareness, a moment that reminds us all that the future is not guaranteed, and that the warnings of the past may hold the key to survival, understanding, and wisdom in an uncertain world. For nearly 5 centuries, the words of Nostradamus have fascinated the world. A figure born into an age of plague, political strife, and religious upheaval, Michel de Nostradamus, or Nostradamus, sought patterns in the chaos around him. His quatrains, written in cryptic rhyme and obscure metaphor, have survived wars, revolutions, and the rise and fall of empires. Scholars and skeptics alike have tried to decipher his meaning, some with painstaking analysis, others with speculative conjecture. And yet, despite centuries of scrutiny, his work has remained enigmatic until now. In 2026, one of his final warnings appears to have moved from prophecy to reality, resonating in ways that are both astonishing and terrifying. This particular quatrain, long believed to be symbolic, reads, "The waters will rise higher than the kings of old. The sky shall burn and the earth shall tremble, and man shall face what he has sown." For decades, this passage was relegated to the realm of curiosity, a poetic image interpreted in 100 ways, none of which seemed pressing. But in the past months, the global alignment of extreme weather events, seismic activity, and societal disruption has prompted historians, scientists, and ordinary citizens to reconsider its significance. Hurricanes of unprecedented strength have pummeled coastlines, floods have engulfed cities once deemed safe, and wildfires have scorched forests across continents. The world seems to be echoing the foreboding imagery described centuries ago, yet the story does not end with natural disasters alone. Political unrest and social upheaval have intensified alongside the phenomena. In regions already strained by inequality and resource scarcity, tensions have escalated, sparking protests, conflicts, and humanitarian crises. Economic systems are stressed to the breaking point as supply chains falter and governments struggle to respond. Across social media, citizens share stories of survival, of fear, and of awe, while online forums are filled with analysis comparing the events of 2026 to the quatrains of Nostradamus. The prophecy, once a historical curiosity, has become a lens through which humanity views the present. The scientific community, experts are grappling with both the literal and symbolic implications of these events. Climatologists analyze temperature spikes, oceanic anomalies, and extreme weather patterns, tracing the links between human activity and environmental disruption. Geologists monitor seismic events, searching for signs that align with the sudden tremors and volcanic activity described in centuries-old writings. Political scientists and sociologists study the societal consequences, from mass migrations to the strains on infrastructure and governance. Across every field, there is a sense of urgency, an understanding that prophecy may not just be metaphor, but a warning with practical consequences. For ordinary citizens, the effect is deeply personal. Families face evacuations, communities rally to support the displaced, and individuals confront the fragility of human life in the face of forces beyond control. In classrooms, students learn about both historical precedent and contemporary responsibility as teachers integrate discussions of prophecy, history, and climate science. In workplaces, executives and managers plan for contingency, aware that disruption is no longer hypothetical. On every level, humanity is forced to confront its limitations and the tangible consequences of past decisions, a reminder that foresight is only valuable if it informs action. Religious leaders, meanwhile, interpret Nostradamus' words as both cautionary and moral. Some view the unfolding events as divine warning, an opportunity for reflection, repentance, and collective awareness. Others emphasize that the prophecy underscores the responsibility of humanity to act wisely in the stewardship of the earth and the management of human societies. Regardless of perspective, there is a shared recognition that the ancient quatrains are no longer abstract, but have become a framework through which the world interprets unprecedented events. The media has amplified the resonance of Nostradamus' warning. Documentaries, news segments, and social media content examine the eerie parallels between the 16th century texts and modern reality. Analysts break down each quatrain, connecting metaphor to meteorology, allegory to geopolitics. Commentators debate whether these alignments are coincidence or premonition, while citizens watch, listen, and wonder. The fascination is universal, spanning continents, cultures, and belief systems. It is a reminder that, despite technological advances and scientific knowledge, humanity remains captivated by the idea that the future is somehow foretold, that wisdom from the past may hold lessons for survival today. Perhaps the most profound impact of Nostradamus' final warning is psychological. In a world saturated with information, where disasters often feel abstract or distant, the alignment of prophecy and reality creates a sense of immediacy, urgency, and reflection. People are asking fundamental questions. How have we arrived here? Could these outcomes have been mitigated? What choices must we make today to prevent further catastrophe? Nostradamus' words, once enigmatic, have become a mirror for humanity, reflecting not only the external chaos of storms, earthquakes, and societal upheaval, but also the internal struggles of conscience, responsibility, and foresight. The warning of 2026 is not merely about destruction. It is about human agency, preparedness, and reflection. Each disaster mitigated, each community strengthened, and each life preserved becomes a testament to the ability to heed warnings, learn from history, and take meaningful action. The prophecy challenges humanity to rise to the occasion, to acknowledge limitations, and to act with wisdom and urgency. In doing so, it transforms fear into responsibility, chaos into awareness, and uncertainty into an opportunity for collective growth. As 2026 unfolds, the alignment between Nostradamus' centuries-old warning and contemporary events continues to captivate the world. Researchers, religious leaders, policymakers, and citizens alike are watching, learning, and acting in ways that transcend borders. The quatrains, once enigmatic, now speak directly to the modern world. They remind us that history, prophecy, and human choice are intertwined, that foresight is only meaningful when paired with action, and that even centuries-old word can carry lessons for survival, adaptation, and reflection. In the end, Nostradamus' final warning for 2026 is more than prophecy. It is a call to awareness. It is a mirror held up to humanity, asking us to reflect, prepare, and respond. It reminds us that the future is not fixed, that decisions have consequences, and that the lessons of the past may hold the key to navigating the present. And as storms rage, waters rise, and societies tremble, one question remains. Will humanity heed this warning in time, or will history fulfill itself once again, echoing through centuries with consequences that could have been avoided? For over 500 years, Nostradamus has remained one of history's most enigmatic figures. Born Michel de Nostradamus in 1503, he lived through a time of plague, political upheaval, and religious persecution. His curiosity and intellect were remarkable. He trained as a physician, studied astronomy and astrology, and traveled widely, observing patterns in human behavior, nature, and the cosmos. In his writings, he attempted to codify these observations into quatrains,